Today I will be talking about gun control in relation to mass shootings. In the past few years there has been many high-profile shootings, including the biggest one this fall where 58 people were gunned down in Las Vegas. On top of this, there was also the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Connecticut, where there was between the ages of 6 and 7-year-old kids that were killed. That being said, there has not been many changes in gun regulations or gun laws in America, though statistically America has much higher mass shooting rates than any other country in the world. There are many misconceptions and false ideas surrounding mass shootings. Many people in American society think that this is just a new phenomenon, but mass shootings have been happening since as far back as the 1960s, if not beyond that. That being said, the definition of mass shootings is up for debate, as many people explain a mass shooting and define it as a killing of 4 or more people. My thesis asks how mass shootings impact gun laws in America. In recent years and up till now, there has not been many regulations, laws, or any legislation put in that would make a drastic change to gun laws in this country. There has been state legislation put in, though not federal laws. That being said, this is a federal topic, as throughout many states this is occurring. Though mass shootings have occurred over a long period of time, each year it seems that we hear this is the deadliest mass shooting in American history. This is a major problem, as it doesn't seem like there is much getting done as far as change to gun regulations or gun laws. There were 372 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2015, killing 475 people and wounding over 800. The first source that I used is by Tiana Lombroso, titled, "What Influences Attitudes Towards Gun Control Reform?" This article looks at the psychological aspects of gun control. Basically, we have a 50-50 between American society and also political views. We have Democrats versus Republicans, aka conservatives versus liberals. This is the problem, as it's the same as in American society, as we have those who support guns and those who are against guns, and there is no room for budge. Basically, no one wants to make any sort of move to another side, as no one wants to try and, I guess you could say, compromise is what I was looking for. No one wants to compromise for each side. That being said, it's basically stuck in the middle and there's nothing moving. Lombroso's article also points out that once the discussion brought up about mass shootings is brought up, those who support guns never want to point their finger at guns, rather the people who commit the crime. That being said, those who are against guns and support gun regulation often view the perpetrator as the major problem, though citing that gun laws can be changed. There is logical reasoning behind this, as even though people shoot people and people kill people, there still should be some type of gun laws being enacted. Though both sides are in disagreement, the one thing both sides can agree on as far as the mass shootings is that it's completely the perpetrator's fault. Therefore, there needs to be discussion, though it does not need to be glorified all over the news and media, as this makes people want to basically carry out their attacks that they're contemplating. Such as, for instance, in Columbine, Colorado High School, where 15 people were murdered, the 2 kids that took out these shootings were basically wanting to make themselves famous by killing people and being known for that. Society doesn't realize that these shootings have been taking place throughout the course of history, though, that being said, the media used to do a great job of basically keeping this not that exposed, as they didn't want repeat shooters, this to keep basically popping up and keep happening. After mass shootings, there are only 2 stances, though both logical. One, the fact that obviously as there was a mass shooting, we should think about maybe making gun laws stricter, not necessarily the guns, just the way people can get them, as people shouldn't be allowed to get guns that are basically mental illness or basically thinking of felonies, etc. There's a lot of loopholes in which people can get guns. The other side is that those who are in support of guns think that there needs to be fewer laws, or there needs to be more guns available to people, as this is the way they will protect themselves from those being shot at or being killed in a mass shooting. In the article After Mass Shootings, Republicans Make It Easier for People to Get Guns by Kim Soften, this claim is actually completely incorrect, that after mass shootings it is easier to get guns. That being said, sales of guns obviously skyrocket as those get worried that there will be laws put on them and restrictions made. Therefore, people go out and buy guns. The fact that their laws are loosened is incorrect, as there is shown that there is legislation passed. The problem is there's no federal legislation passed. It's usually state, which I guess in a broader sense isn't nothing like too important as far as like the news, etc. They don't really talk about that. It doesn't get exposure. So state laws have been changed, such as after Sandy Hook, there were laws in Connecticut that have been changed, but there was no federal laws that have been changed. They found that after mass shootings in a state caused 2.5 more gun control bills to be proposed in legislation. There was also a 15% increase in the amount of legislation that was passed. Currently, as far as the gun regulations and gun laws, what needs reform is the laws that don't make any sense, as there needs to be logical and practical reasoning for the way you can buy guns. In America, currently, the way you can get guns without a gun license is by buying a gun at a gun show through a private seller, though most people selling guns at gun shows are either vendors or private sellers. So there's plenty of private sellers there where you can access guns without a gun license. This is extremely nerve-wracking and obviously not logical to those who live in America, as you should need a background check, should need to be known if you're a felony, if you have mental illness, basically anything going on, as anyone shouldn't be able to just walk around with a gun. In conclusion, I think as a society we are making great leaps and great steps to resolve this problem, or to start resolving this problem. The first step in order to resolving a problem is identifying it. This we have not done in the past, as after mass shootings the news kept things pretty hush, as they didn't want to basically exploit what was going on, as they didn't want more people to commit heinous crimes. So what we need to do is we need to talk about this in a logical and practical way. That being said, people didn't want to bring up this in discussions and talk about it. Now that we are talking about it, we are coming to clear consensus of what the problems are, what is going on in both sides. As we have one side who views that guns are basically what we need in order to protect ourselves, versus the people that think these are what we need to ban in order to help save ourselves. Now that we are looking at both sides, and that we are understanding people's perspectives, beliefs, different ideas, this is what will help create a consensus.